Princess Zara Vex stood alone on the bridge of her spaceship, the stellar tide. Her blue skin glowed softly in the dim light. She looked out at the stars and sighed. The war with Earth had been going on for 3 years now. As a princess of the Luminary Empire and commander of their 7th Fleet, Zara had fought many battles. She had won most of them until recently. Zara touched the control panel, and a map of the solar system appeared in front of her. Red dots showed where Earth ships, blue dots showed her own ships. There were fewer blue dots than before. The last battle had gone badly. Half of her fleet was gone. "Commander," said a voice behind her, "the Earth forces are moving again." Zara turned to see her second-in-command, Nyx. Nyx was tall and serious, with the same blue skin as Zara, but darker silver eyes. "Show me," Zara said. Nyx made the map bigger. The red dots were moving toward one of Saturn's moons. "They're following the same pattern," Nyx said. "Always one step ahead of us. This Earth commander, this ghost, knows what we're going to do before we do it." Zara frowned. Ghost was the code name for the Earth commander who had been causing so much trouble. No one knew who Ghost really was, but they were smart. Too smart. "There's something familiar about their tactics," Zara said quietly. "Something I can't quite place." She walked to her private room off the bridge. The door closed behind her, and she sat at her desk. Zara opened a drawer and took out a small wooden box. Inside was an old photograph. It showed 2 young girls standing by a lake on Earth. One girl had normal human skin and bright red hair. The other was Zara, much younger, with her blue skin and silver eyes. Zara had visited Earth as a child 20 years ago. Her mother, the Empress, had sent her as part of a peace mission. Most human children had been afraid of her, but not Sam. Samantha had been kind and brave. They had become friends that summer playing games in the forests of a place called Montana. Games of strategy. Games where they pretended to command spaceships and armies. Games where Sam always seemed to win, even though Zara was supposed to be smarter. Zara put the photo down and went back to the map. She looked at the way the Earth ships moved, the way they split up to trap her forces, the way they used the moons and rings of Saturn for cover. It was just like the games she and Sam used to play. "No," Zara whispered. "It can't be." She went to her computer and typed quickly. She needed information about the Earth military, about who might be in charge of their space forces now. The computer showed her pictures of Earth military leaders. Old men with stern faces, young men with proud smiles. But then, near the bottom of the list, she saw a woman with bright red hair, now cut short. The woman wore a dark uniform with many medals. The name under the picture said, Lieutenant Commander. Samantha Kelly. Zara's heart beat faster. She read the information. Samantha Kelly was a tactical officer in the Earth Defense Force. She had helped develop new weapons that could get through luminary shields. She was known for her unusual battle strategies. The computer didn't say she was Ghost, but Zara knew. She could feel it. "Sam," she whispered. "It's you." Memories came flooding back. She and Sam had been so close that summer. They had shared secrets. Zara had even shown Sam a luminary energy device, explaining how it worked. She hadn't thought anything of it at the time. They were just children playing. But now those childhood games had turned into real war. And those innocent secrets might have given Earth the knowledge they needed to fight back against the Luminari. Zara touched her neural implant, a small device at the base of her skull that helped her think and remember. She asked it to search her childhood memories, to find every moment she had spent with Sam, every game they had played, every strategy Sam had used to win. As the memories played in her mind, Zara began to see patterns. The same patterns she was seeing in the battles now. Sam had always been clever, finding ways to use the environment to her advantage, using surprise and misdirection, just like Ghost did. Zara went back to the bridge. Nyx was still there, studying the map. "Change of plans," Zara said. "Pull our ships back to the rings of Saturn. Nix looked surprised. But Commander, we were planning to attack the Earth base on Titan. They'll be expecting that, Zara said. Ghost, the Earth Commander, knows how we think. But I'm starting to understand how she thinks too. She? Nix asked. Zara didn't answer. She looked at the map again, thinking hard. If Sam was Ghost, then this war had just become much more personal and much more complicated because Zara knew something no one else did. The war between Earth and the Luminari Empire had started because of an attack on a Luminari ship, an attack that Earth had supposedly carried out. But Zara had seen reports that didn't make sense, things that made her wonder if someone else was behind it all. She needed to know the truth, and if anyone on the Earth side would tell her the truth, it would be Sam. If Sam even remembered her after all these years. Commander? Nix was waiting for orders. Tell the fleet to hide in Saturn's rings, Zara said. We're going to change our tactics. No more direct attacks. It's time we started thinking differently. As Nix left to carry out the orders, Zara touched the small crystal pendant she wore around her neck. Sam had given it to her the day they said goodbye. Friends across the stars forever, Sam had said. Zara wondered if Sam still had the matching pendant. She wondered if Sam remembered that promise. She wondered if it was possible to be friends with someone you were supposed to be at war with. I'm going to find you, Sam, Zara whispered, and then we're going to talk about everything. Outside the window of the ship, the rings of Saturn glittered like diamonds. Somewhere out there, the Earth forces were waiting, and Samantha Kelly, once her dearest friend, now her greatest enemy, was planning her next move. Zara was planning hers too. And for the first time since the war began, she felt a spark of hope. Because if Sam was behind the Earth strategies, then maybe, just maybe, there was a chance to end this war before more people died. She just needed to reach out to her old friend. Somehow. Samantha Kelly stood by the large window of the space station, defiant. Earth looked small and blue from here, beautiful and fragile, worth protecting at any cost. Sam wore the dark uniform of the Earth Defense Force. 3 small stars on her collar showed her rank as lieutenant commander. Her red hair was cut short, practical for military life. At 32, she had become one of Earth's most important officers. Lieutenant Commander Kelly, a voice called. The Admiral wants to see you. Sam turned and nodded to the young officer. On my way. She walked through the metal hallways of the space station. People moved out of her way. Some nodded with respect. Others looked at her with something like awe. They all knew who she was. The woman who had helped create the new shield breaker technology. The tactical officer whose battle plans had pushed back the alien invasion. Some called her Ghost behind her back, a nickname she pretended not to know about. None of them knew her secret, how she had learned about luminary technology, from a blue-skinned alien girl who had once been her friend. Sam entered the war room. Admiral Diane Foster stood at a large table, looking at a map of Saturn and its moons. Kelly, the Admiral said without looking up, the Luminary 7th Fleet has pulled back to Saturn's rings. What do you make of it? Sam studied the map. The blue dots showing alien ships were clustered in the icy rings. It's not like them to retreat, Sam said, especially not their commander. Princess Zara Vex is known for being aggressive. You seem to know a lot about this alien princess, Admiral Foster said, finally looking at Sam. Sam kept her face calm. I study my opponents, ma'am. It's why I win. What she didn't say was that she had recognized Zara's name the first time she heard it, that she had secretly looked up images of the Luminari commander, that she had confirmed what she already knew. In her heart, the commander of the alien fleet was the same blue-skinned girl she had spent a summer with in Montana 2 decades ago. Well, your study has paid off, the Admiral said. Your tactics have given us our first real advantage in this war. The shield breaker technology you helped develop has changed everything. Sam nodded but felt a twist of guilt in her stomach. The technology wasn't really her idea. It came from what Zara had shown her all those years ago. A child's innocent sharing of her people's science. Sam had remembered it, used it, turned it into a weapon against Zara's own people. What do you think they're planning? The Admiral asked, pointing at the map. Sam forced herself to focus. It's a trap. They want us to follow them into the rings where visibility is poor. They'll try to surround us. So we stay away from Saturn? No, Sam said. We go to Titan instead. The moon has a valuable research station. They'll expect us to defend it, but we'll set up our own trap. The Admiral nodded. Make it happen, Commander. Later, alone in her small room on the station, Sam took out an old metal box. Inside was a photograph, the same one Zara had. 2 girls by a lake in Montana. Friends from different worlds. Sam also had a small crystal pendant, identical to the one she had given Zara. She never wore it openly. It would be hard to explain why an Earth officer kept alien jewelry. She held the pendant in her hand, feeling its strange warmth. Then she went to her computer and pulled up the latest images of the Luminary fleet. The largest ship was the Stellar Tide, Zara's command vessel. Sam zoomed in on the ship. Somewhere inside was a blue-skinned woman with silver eyes. A princess, who commanded a fleet of warships. A girl who had once shown Sam how to skip stones across a lake. What are you really doing, Zara? Sam whispered to the image. This move doesn't make sense for you, unless Zara had recognized her tactics. Unless Zara knew who she was fighting against. The thought made Sam's heart beat faster. What would happen if they came face to face now? Would Zara hate her for using what she had learned against the Luminari? Or would she remember their friendship? Sam's computer beeped. A message from one of her officers. The fleet was ready to move to Titan as she had ordered. She sent back a quick reply, then hesitated. She opened a new file and began to type a message. A message no one else would see. A message she might never send. To Commander Zara Vex of the Luminary 7th Fleet, she wrote. This is Lieutenant Commander Samantha Kelly of Earth Defense Force. You might remember me. We spent a summer together in Montana. We were friends. Sam stopped. This was crazy. Even if she could find a way to send this message, what good would it do? They were at war. Friendship didn't matter anymore. She deleted the message and got ready for bed. But sleep didn't come easily. In her dreams, she saw a blue-skinned girl with silver eyes, laughing as they ran through a forest. Then the dream changed and they were older, facing each other across a battlefield, weapons raised. Sam woke up early the next morning. She dressed quickly and went to the command center. The Earth fleet was already moving toward Titan. Sci-Fi, main screen. She could see Saturn's largest moon growing closer. The orange atmosphere looked thick and hazy. Any sign of Luminary ships? She asked. None, Commander, replied an officer at the radar station. They're still in the rings. Sam frowned. This wasn't right. Zara should have sent at least some ships to defend Titan. The moon had resources both sides needed. Something's wrong, she said. Scan the entire Saturn system again. They're out there somewhere. The minutes ticked by. Sam felt tense. She knew Zara. Even after 20 years, she remembered how her friend thought. Zara wouldn't just hide in the rings. She would be planning something unexpected. Commander, the radar officer suddenly called. Out. Multiple ships coming out of Titan's atmosphere. They were hiding from our scans. Sam looked at the screen. At least 10 Luminary warships were rising from Titan's thick orange clouds. They had been there all along, using the moon's atmosphere to hide. Evasive maneuvers, Sam shouted. All ships, defensive formation. But it was too late. The Luminary ships fired, and 3 Earth vessels exploded into flames. Sam gripped the edge of her command console. This was a classic Zara move. Something they had played out in their childhood games. Hide where the enemy least expects you, then strike fast and hard. She remembers. Sam whispered. She knows it's me. The battle above Titan was chaotic and violent. Sam's quick thinking saved most of the Earth fleet, but they were forced to retreat. It was the first real defeat since Sam had taken over tactical command. Back on the Defiant, Admiral Foster was not happy. I thought you said they would try to trap us in the rings, Kelly, she said coldly. I was wrong. Sam admitted. Their commander is adapting to our tactics. The admiral stared at her for a long moment. Don't let it happen again. After the admiral left, Sam went back to her room. She took out the crystal pendant again and held it tightly. Okay, Zara, she said to the empty room. You've made your point. You know who I am. So what happens now? As if in answer, her computer chimed. A message had arrived on a very old, very secure frequency, a frequency Sam hadn't used since she was a child. Her hand shaking slightly, Sam opened the message. It contained just 3 words. Montana Starlight. Remember? Montana Starlight. The code phrase she and Zara had made up that summer. Their secret way of identifying each other if they ever met again. Zara remembered. Zara knew. And Zara was reaching out. Sam sat down at her computer and began to type a reply. 3 months had passed since the day the truth was revealed. 3 months of careful negotiations, tense meetings, and slow progress toward peace. The war had not ended in a single moment, but day by day, the fighting had stopped. Prince Talon had been arrested by Luminari forces when his ship was finally forced to surrender. Admiral Reese faced a military tribunal on Earth. Both would answer for their crimes. Zara stood at the window of her quarters in the royal palace on the Luminari homeworld. She was no longer wearing her military uniform, but the formal robes of a princess. Tomorrow she would travel to Earth as part of the official delegation to sign the peace treaty. Her mother, Empress Lumina, would lead the delegation. Are you ready for tomorrow? Asked Nyx, who had remained Zara's loyal assistant even after they had both left military service. As ready as I can be, Zara replied. It will be strange to be on Earth again. The last time I was there, I was a child. Nyx smiled. And you met your human friend, the one who helped you end the war. Sam? Zara said softly. Yes, they had not seen each other since that day in orbit around Earth. Both had been busy with the aftermath of their revelation. Zara had returned to the Luminari homeworld to help her mother understand what had happened. Sam had remained on Earth, working with their leaders to verify the evidence and begin the peace process. They had exchanged a few messages, but they were formal and brief. Too many people were watching now. Too much was at stake to risk any appearance of improper influence. Will you see her at the ceremony? Nyx asked. I don't know, Zara admitted. She's not part of their official diplomatic team, but she might be there. The next day, the Luminari royal ship landed at the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in New York. The damage from the early days of the war had been repaired, and the building gleamed in the sunlight. Empress Lumina led her delegation into the Grand Assembly Hall. Zara walked just behind her, aware of all the human eyes watching them. Some with curiosity, some with lingering fear or anger, some with hope. The Earth leaders were already seated at the long table. President Olivia Moore of the United Earth Alliance rose to greet them. Behind her stood various officials and advisors, and there near the end of the line was Sam. She wore a formal Earth Defense Force dress uniform, now with the rank of commander on her collar. Her red hair was styled neatly, and she stood tall and proud. Their eyes met across the room. Zara felt her heart beat faster, but she kept her face composed. This was a formal diplomatic event. There would be time for personal reunions later, if Sam even wanted that. The ceremony was long and filled with speeches. Leaders from both worlds spoke of the tragedy of the war and the hope for the future. They thanked those who had worked for peace, though Zara and Sam were never mentioned by name. Their role in exposing the truth remained a carefully guarded secret, known only to a few. Finally, it was time for the signing. Empress Lumina and President Moore sat at the center of the table, the peace treaty between them. They each signed their name, then stood and shook hands, a human gesture the Empress had learned for this occasion. The hall erupted in applause. It was done. The war was officially over. As the formal part of the event ended and people began to mingle, Zara made her way through the crowd. Humans stepped aside for her, some bowing slightly, others just watching with wide eyes. Few of them had seen a Luminari up close before. She found Sam standing near a window, looking out at the New York skyline. "Commander Kelly," Zara said formally. Sam turned. "Princess Vex." They looked at each other for a long moment. Then, when no one was watching, Sam smiled. "It's good to see you, Star Eyes." "And you, Forest Runner," Zara replied softly. "I wasn't sure if you'd want to talk to me," Sam admitted. "After everything." "Why wouldn't I?" Sam looked down. "We fought a war against each other. Even if we didn't know it at first, we still led battles where people died." "We also ended that war," Zara reminded her. "Together." They were quiet for a moment, both feeling the weight of the past and the uncertainty of the future. "What will you do now?" Zara asked. "Now that the war is over?" "I've been assigned to the new Joint Space Exploration Initiative," Sam said. "We're going to work with luminary scientists to explore beyond the solar system. Together this time, not as competitors. What about you?" "I'm returning to diplomatic service," Zara said. "My mother thinks I have a talent for it after what happened. I'll be working on building stronger relations between our peoples." "You'll be good at that," Sam said with a smile. A human official approached them. "Excuse me, Princess Vex, the Empress is asking for you. The reception is about to begin." Zara nodded. "Thank you. I'll be right there." As the official walked away, she turned back to Sam. "Will you be at the reception?" "Yes," Sam said. "But it will be crowded, not much chance to talk." Zara hesitated, then made a decision. "There's a garden behind the building. Meet me there in 2 hours. We could talk more. Privately." Sam's eyes lit up. "I'd like that." 2 hours later, Zara slipped away from the reception. Her mother was deep in conversation with Earth officials and didn't notice her leave. She made her way through the building and out to the garden. It was a warm evening. The garden was lit with small lights that reminded Zara of stars. She walked along a path lined with flowers, marveling at Earth's plant life so different from her homeworld. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Sam's voice came from behind her. Zara turned. Sam had changed out of her formal uniform into simpler clothes, dark pants, and a blue shirt that matched her eyes. "Very," Zara agreed. "We have gardens on my world, but nothing quite like this." They walked together, talking more freely now that they were alone. About the war, the peace, their roles in both. About what had happened in the 3 months since they had last seen each other. "My mother was angry at first," Zara said. "When she learned what Talon had done and that I had exposed it without coming to her first. But she understood why I did it." "Admiral Foster was the same," Sam said. "Furious that I went behind her back, but grateful in the end. She's been promoted to oversee the new peace initiatives." They reached a small bench under a flowering tree and sat down. The scent of blossoms filled the air. "Do you remember the last time we sat under a tree together?" Zara asked. Sam smiled. "By the lake in Montana. We were making those silly friendship bracelets. And you gave me this." Zara touched the crystal pendant she still wore under her robes. "You still have it?" Sam said, surprised. "Of course. Do you still have yours?" Sam reached into her shirt and pulled out her matching pendant. "Always." They looked at each other in the soft garden light. Blue luminary skin and human pink, silver eyes and blue ones, so different and yet so connected. "Sam," Zara said softly, "when we were children you promised we would be friends forever. Then the war came. But now that it's over." "Now that it's over," Sam finished for her. "I'd like to keep that promise, if you would." "I would," Zara said. "Very much." Sam reached out her hand. Zara took it, their fingers intertwining. They sat in comfortable silence, looking up at the stars visible through the tree branches. "Your diplomatic work," Sam said after a while. "Will it bring you to Earth often?" "I hope so," Zara replied. "And your exploration initiative, will it take you to luminary space?" "Definitely," Sam said with a smile. "We have a lot of stars to explore together." They talked for hours, making plans and sharing hopes. The galaxy was opening up before them, full of possibilities now that peace had come, and at the center of it all was their friendship. Once lost, now found again. As the night grew late, they knew they needed to return to their duties, but before they left the garden, they renewed the promise they had made as children. "Friends across the stars," Sam said, holding up her pendant. "Forever," Zara finished, touching her pendant to Sam's. The crystals glowed briefly where they touched, a soft light in the darkness. The next day, as Zara prepared to leave Earth with the Luminary delegation, she received a small package. Inside was a simple bracelet made of woven threads, just like the friendship bracelets they had made as children. A note came with it. "For new beginnings. See you among the stars. S." Zara smiled and put the bracelet on her wrist, where it stood out against her blue skin. New beginnings indeed. 6 months later, the first joint human luminary exploration mission launched from Earth orbit. Commander Samantha Kelly led the Earth team. Princess Zara Vex represented the Luminary Empire. Together, they would chart new worlds and build bridges between their peoples. As their ship left the solar system, heading into deep space, Zara stood beside Sam on the bridge. Before them, the stars stretched out endlessly, full of promise and adventure. "Ready, Forest Runner?" Zara asked. "Always, Star Eyes," Sam replied with a smile. The childhood friends who had become enemies in war had now become partners in peace. Their story would be told for generations, how an alien princess and a human soldier had found each other across the stars and changed the course of history. But that was the public story. The private one, of friendship lost and found, of trust broken and rebuilt, of two people from different worlds who understood each other better than anyone else. That story was theirs alone. A story written in shared memories, in matching crystal pendants and in a promise kept against all odds, friends across the stars, forever. The 2 weeks that followed were the most dangerous of Zara's life. By day, she commanded her fleet, continuing the war as expected. By night, she secretly searched the royal archives, looking for proof of the truth behind the Mars attack. Her cousin Prince Talon visited the Stellar Tide 3 days after her meeting with Sam. He arrived in his flagship, the Imperial Dawn, claiming it was a routine inspection. But Zara noticed how his silver eyes followed her, how his questions probed her recent decisions. "Your tactics have changed, cousin," Talon said as they ate dinner in her private dining room. He was handsome for a luminari, with sharp features and dark blue skin. "The Empress wonders why you haven't pressed your advantage after Titan." "Strategy requires patience," Zara replied calmly. "The humans expect us to attack, so we wait." Talon smiled, but his eyes remained cold. "Patience was never your strength, Zara. I remember how impulsive you were as a child. People change." "Do they?" Talon asked. "I wonder. Your mother worries about your commitment to this war. She remembers how fond you were of Earth, how you once had a human friend." Zara's heart skipped a beat, but she kept her face neutral. "Childhood friendships mean nothing now. I serve the Empire." "Good," Talon said, "because there are rumors that someone high in command has been communicating with the humans. The Empress would consider that treason." After Talon left, Zara doubled her efforts. She used her royal access codes to dig deeper into the military records. What she found disturbed her deeply. The luminary ship that was supposedly attacked by humans near Mars had sent strange messages just before the incident. Messages that were coded, but that Zara managed to decrypt. They revealed orders from someone, high in the luminary command, someone whose identity was hidden, instructing the ship to fire on their own diplomatic vessel and make it look like a human attack. Zara saved the evidence on a secure data crystal, but she needed more. She needed to know who had given those orders. Meanwhile, on the Earth space station Defiant, Sam was conducting her own investigation. She told Admiral Foster she was analyzing luminary battle patterns, but in reality, she was searching through classified records of the Mars incident. "You've been working late, Kelly," said a voice behind her one night. Sam quickly closed the file she was viewing and turned to see Admiral Reese. He was an older man with cold eyes and a hard mouth, the man who had been in charge of the Mars outpost when the war started. "Just trying to understand our enemy better, sir," Sam said. "Admirable," Reese replied. "But be careful. Some things are best left unquestioned. Wars need heroes, not investigators." After he left, Sam felt a chill run down her spine. Had he suspected what she was really doing? She needed to be more careful. But her search was bearing fruit. She had found discrepancies in the attack reports. Earth sensors had detected energy signatures that didn't match known luminary weapons. And there were gaps in the communication logs, messages that should have been there but had been deleted. Most damning of all, she found a hidden directive signed by Admiral Reese himself, dated 1 day before the attack. It ordered Earth ships to be ready for immediate and overwhelming response to any luminary aggression, real or perceived. It was as if he had known the attack was coming, as if he had been waiting for it. 2 weeks after their first meeting, Zara and Sam returned to the abandoned outpost on Enceladus. This time they arrived within minutes of each other, both carrying data crystals with the evidence they had gathered. "You look tired," Sam said when she saw Zara. "So do you," Zara replied. They shared what they had found, piecing together a disturbing picture. Prince Talon had worked with Admiral Reese to stage the attacks that started the war. Talon wanted the Luminari throne, which would be easier to claim if Zara died in battle. Reese wanted power and had never trusted the peace with the Luminari. "They used us," Sam said bitterly. "They used our people as pawns in their game." "And they're still doing it," Zara added. "The war serves their purposes. Talon gains influence with every battle. And I'm guessing Reese has been promoted?" Sam nodded. "Twice. He's now second only to Admiral Foster in our command structure." They sat in silence for a moment, absorbing the weight of what they had discovered. "We need to take this evidence to our leaders," Zara finally said. "To my mother and to your government." "They won't believe us," Sam pointed out. "Talon and Reese will deny everything. They'll say the evidence is fake." "Then we need to make it public," Zara decided. "To both our peoples at once, so everyone can see the truth." "How?" Sam asked. "Any transmission we send could be blocked." Zara thought for a moment. "There's a way, but it's dangerous. We would need to broadcast from both our command ships at the same time, during a battle." "A battle?" Sam looked alarmed. "More people would die." "Not if we plan it carefully," Zara said. "We make it look like a major confrontation is about to happen. Get both fleets in position. But instead of fighting, we broadcast the evidence. To all ships, all stations, all planets." "Talon and Reese would try to stop us," Sam warned. "Yes," Zara agreed. "They might even try to kill us. But if we succeed, we end the war." They spent hours planning, working out every detail. When they were done, they had a strategy that might work, or might get them both killed for treason. They prepared to leave. Sam hesitated. "Zara, if this works, what happens after?" "To us?" Zara looked at her old friend. Even after everything, after all the battles and deaths, she still felt that connection between them. That trust. "I don't know," she admitted. "But whatever happens, I'm glad we found each other again." Sam smiled. "Me too." They embraced briefly, then went their separate ways, each returning to their fleet to set their plan in motion. Back on the stellar tide, Zara called her officers together. "We're going to launch a major offensive," she told them, "against the Earth orbital station Defiant. It's time to end this war." Nix looked concerned. "Commander, the Defiant is heavily defended. And our intelligence says Ghost, Commander Kelly, is there." "I'm counting on it," Zara said. "Prepare the fleet. We move in 3 days." She sent a coded message to her mother, the Empress, claiming she had a strategy to win the war. She knew the Empress would tell Talon, and Talon would prepare his own ships to join the battle. He wouldn't want to miss the chance to see her either succeed gloriously or fail catastrophically. On the Defiant, Sam was making similar preparations, She convinced Admiral Foster that a major luminary attack was coming. We need to meet them with everything we have, she argued. End this war with one decisive battle. Foster agreed, ordering all available ships to prepare for combat. Admiral Reese was put in charge of coordinating the fleet movements. He watched Sam with suspicious eyes but said nothing. The night before the planned battle, Zara couldn't sleep. She stood at the window of her quarters, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Sam, also preparing for tomorrow. They had not been able to communicate again for fear of being discovered. They would go into the battle trusting each other, hoping their plan would work. Zara touched her crystal pendant. "Friends across the stars forever," she whispered. Across space, in her quarters on the Defiant, Sam held her matching pendant and whispered the same words. The next day, the two fleets faced each other in Earth orbit. It was the largest gathering of ships since the war began. The Stellar Tide and the Defiant were at the center of their respective formations. The Imperial Dawn, Prince Talon's flagship, hung back slightly, waiting to see what would happen. On the bridge of the Stellar Tide, Zara gave the order to prepare weapons, but secretly she was also preparing the broadcast that would expose the truth about the war. "Commander," Nix reported, "the Earth fleet is holding position. They're not advancing or retreating." "Good," Zara said. "Keep our ships steady. Wait for my command to fire." She opened a secure channel on her personal console, one that connected directly to the Stellar Tide's communication system. The evidence was ready to send. Now she just needed Sam to be ready on her end. On the Defiant, Sam was at her tactical station, watching the luminary fleet. Admiral Foster stood nearby, tense and ready. Admiral Reese paced behind them, his eyes constantly moving between the main screen and Sam. "They're not attacking," Foster observed. "What are they waiting for?" "I don't know," Sam lied. She had her hand on the small control pad hidden under her console. The evidence was loaded and ready to broadcast. She was waiting for Zara's signal. The signal came in the form of a brief flash of light from the Stellar Tide's forward beacon. 3 short pulses that would look like a weapon system test to anyone else. Sam saw it and pressed the hidden control. At the same instant, Zara activated her broadcast. Both ships began transmitting the evidence to every vessel in both fleets, to every communication station on Earth and in the Luminary Empire. The truth about how the war started, who was responsible, and why. "What is this?" Admiral Foster demanded as the transmission appeared on the Defiant's main screen. "The truth," Sam said, standing up, "about how this war really started." On the Stellar Tide, Zara also stood to address her crew. "This war was built on lies," she said. "It's time for the truth to be known." But even as the broadcasts went out, Prince Talon was moving. The Imperial Dawn suddenly changed course, heading straight for the Stellar Tide. Zara paced in her private chamber aboard the Stellar Tide. The battle at Titan had gone well. Her ships had surprised the Earth fleet, forcing them to retreat. But that wasn't why her heart was racing. She had sent a message using an old code that only one person would understand. And now she was waiting for a reply. "Commander?" Nix's voice came through the speaker. "The Earth fleet has pulled back to their orbital station. Should we pursue?" "No," Zara said quickly. "Hold position. Let them think we're content with defending Titan." "As you wish, Commander." Nix sounded confused, but she didn't question the order. Zara went back to pacing. Had she made a mistake? Maybe Sam didn't remember their childhood code. Maybe Sam didn't care about their old friendship. 20 years was a long time, even for a Luminari, whose lives were longer than humans. For Sam, it might feel like ancient history. Her computer chimed. A message had arrived on the secure channel. Zara rushed to read it. "Forest Runner to Star Eyes," it said. "I remember, we need to talk." Zara's heart jumped. Forest Runner and Star Eyes. Their secret nicknames for each other. Sam called her Star Eyes because of her silver luminary eyes, and Zara had called Sam Forest Runner because she was always leading their adventures through the Montana woods, Sam remembered. And she wanted to talk. Zara typed back quickly. "Where? When?" Not through this channel. Too risky. She sent the message and waited. The reply came faster this time. Enceladus. The old diplomatic outpost. It's been abandoned since the war started. 2 Earth days from now. I'll come alone. Enceladus was one of Saturn's smaller moons. The outpost. There had been built for meetings between humans and Luminari before the war. It was neutral ground, but getting there without being noticed would be difficult for both of them. I'll be there, Zara typed. No weapons, no trackers. Just us. She closed the channel and sat down, feeling suddenly weak. She was going to meet Sam face to face after 20 years, her childhood friend who was now her enemy. The tactical genius who had been beating her in battle after battle. Zara needed a plan. She couldn't tell anyone where she was really going. Even Nix, her trusted second-in-command, might not understand. Meeting with an Earth officer in secret could be seen as treason, but she had to know the truth about how this war started. And she needed to see Sam again. To look into her eyes and find out if there was still a friendship worth saving. 2 days later, Zara told her officers she was taking a small scout ship to inspect the damage on Titan. No one questioned her. As the princess and fleet commander, she didn't need to explain her actions. Once her scout ship was away from the fleet, Zara changed course. Instead of heading to Titan, she flew toward Enceladus. The small moon was known for its ice geysers that shot water into space. It was beautiful, but dangerous to navigate. Zara's scout ship was fast and stealthy. She flew low over the icy surface, avoiding the geysers, heading toward the diplomatic outpost on the North Pole. The outpost looked abandoned when she arrived. It was built half under the ice with only a few domes visible on the surface. Zara landed her ship in a small hangar and entered through an airlock. Inside, emergency lights provided a dim blue glow. The air was cold but breathable. Zara walked through empty hallways, her footsteps echoing. She reached the main meeting room and found it empty. Had Sam changed her mind, or was this a trap? "Hello, Zara," the voice came from behind her. Zara turned, quickly. A woman stood in the doorway. She wore a dark Earth Defense Force uniform with no insignia or rank. Her red hair was shorter than Zara remembered, and there were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. But it was unmistakably Sam. "Sam," Zara said, her voice barely a whisper. "You came. I said I would." Sam stepped into the room. "It's been a long time, Star Eyes." The childhood nickname brought a rush of memories. For a moment, Zara saw the young human girl who had been her friend, not the Earth commander who had been her enemy. "Too long, Forest Runner," Zara replied. They stood there, a few steps apart, neither moving closer. The air between them felt charged with unspoken words and complicated emotions. "You figured out I was Ghost," Sam finally said. It wasn't a question. Zara nodded. The battle tactics. They were familiar, like our old games. "You were always a fast learner," Sam said with a small smile. "It took me longer to realize who I was fighting against. Not until I saw footage of your ship and recognized your command style." "Is that why you developed the shield breaker technology?" Zara asked. She couldn't keep the hurt from her voice. "Because I showed you how our shields worked that summer." Sam looked away. "Yes. I remembered what you told me, how the energy patterns flowed. It was enough to help our scientists find a weakness." "I trusted you," Zara said softly. "And I trusted you," Sam countered, looking back at her. "But then your people attacked our outpost on Mars without warning. 300 people died, Zara. What was I supposed to do?" Zara frowned. "What are you talking about? We didn't attack Mars. Earth attacked our diplomatic vessel first. That's how the war started." They stared at each other, both confused. "That's not what happened," Sam said slowly. "Our records show your ships fired first, unprovoked. And our records show the opposite." Zara took a step closer. "Sam, I think we've both been lied to." Sam was quiet for a moment, thinking. "It's possible. There are people on both sides who might benefit from a war." My cousin, Prince Talon, has always wanted my position, Zara said. And the throne someday. He commands the Imperial Dawn, our largest warship. He was near Mars when the attack happened. And Admiral Reese was in charge of our Mars outpost, Sam added. He's always hated the idea of peace with aliens. He was promoted after the attack. They looked at each other, a new understanding forming between them. We need proof, Sam said. If someone engineered this war, we need to know who and why. Zara nodded. I have access to the Royal Archives. I can look for records of the Mars incident, communications that might have been hidden, and I can check our military databases, Sam said. Look for inconsistencies in the reports. For the first time since they'd entered the room, Sam smiled a real smile. We always did make a good team. Zara felt herself smiling back. The best. The tension between them eased a little. They sat down at the old meeting table, no longer commander and commander, but Zara and Sam trying to solve a problem together like they used to. If we find proof, Zara said. What then? My mother, the Empress, believes this war is just. She won't easily accept that we've been deceived. And Earth's leaders won't either, Sam said. We'd need to present the evidence publicly, to both sides at once, make it impossible to ignore. That would be dangerous, Zara warned. Whoever started this war won't want the truth to come out. Sam reached across the table. After a moment's hesitation, Zara took her hand. Human skin against luminary skin, pink against blue. Do you still have the pendant I gave you? Sam asked. Zara reached under her collar and pulled out the crystal on its chain. It glowed softly in the dim light. Sam pulled out her matching pendant. Friends across the stars forever. That's what we promised. Can we still be friends? After everything that's happened? Zara asked. After all the battles, all the people who have died? I don't know. Sam answered honestly. But we can try to stop more deaths. We can try to end this war. They talked for hours, making plans, sharing what they knew, trying to piece together the truth. As they talked, some of their old connection came back. The easy way they understood each other's thoughts. The trust that had once been so natural between them. When it was time to leave, they stood facing each other again. This time there was less distance between them. 2 weeks, Zara said. Meet me back here with whatever you find. Be careful. Sam, if someone on your side is behind this, they won't want you asking questions. You be careful too, Sam replied. Royal cousins can be dangerous enemies. Impulsively, Zara reached out and hugged Sam. After a surprised moment, Sam hugged her back. I missed you, Forest Runner, Zara whispered. I missed you too, Star Eyes, Sam replied. They left the outpost separately, each returning to their fleet, their duty, their side of the war. But something had changed. A bridge had formed across the divide of species in conflict. As Zara flew her scout ship back toward her fleet, she felt both hope and fear. Hope that they could find the truth and end the war. Fear of what might happen if they failed. Either way, she was no longer alone in her doubts. Sam was with her again, even if they were separated by space and duty. Together, they might find a way to peace. And maybe, just maybe, they could rebuild the friendship that war had broken.